the energy that surrounds us. And welcome to another exciting special episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and I have a little bit of housekeeping for you. So, this episode is pre recorded due to the fact that my amazing and awesome guest is across the pond in the UK, and it's Halloween night. So, that's was the fun of the little remark I made before the intro was to help everyone get in the Halloween spirit and hope everyone is having a wonderful Halloween and gets a lot of trick-or-treaters or gets a lot of candy that they like left over. Either way, it's a win-win. So with that being said, we will be answering questions when we see them, but I will not be putting them up on screen as I will not be behind the computer when this is going live because I'll be answering my door. So if you leave a question or a comment, we will respond as soon as we see it. So do not worry. And with that being said, I am going to turn it over to my amazing guest, hailing from the UK, brilliant paranormal investigator, awesome friend, the one, the only, the incredible Bewitched.82.
Hi there.
So, for those who aren't aware, could you give a little bit about who and what you do?
Well, UK-based paranormal investigator. I've been a medium my entire life. I've always had the ability and gift to see. And I set up my own Instagram because I wanted to show people what I was able to see myself. And I just wanted to get evidence of it and prove to people, life does go on. It's not just it. It's not just the end of it when you go. So that's why I done that. I just wanted to share my experiences and things I've seen and what I've been doing with everybody.
Well, and as we were talking about beforehand, this is your first podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, thank you for choosing my show to be your first experience, and hopefully, it'll be a good one for you.
Thanks for letting me come on.
You're welcome, and you're welcome anytime. And So, what got you interested in the paranormal?
Um, as I was growing up, I was seeing things and hearing things that the rest of my family members weren't seeing. And as I got older, I just wanted to show people, because I'm able to see, hear, speak. I'm able to cross people over. And yeah, I was sharing with my family a lot of what I was seeing and hearing, but they were just, oh, you're crazy, maybe you need to go and see someone. But no, I knew what I was seeing was real. And then when I got involved with other people that were also seeing the same as me, I just wanted to create a group where I could put on there everything that I was capturing in my own home. I mean, I live with five spirits, so this is on a daily. So I'm able to just put on there everything that's going on here. But I also help out other people that are going through the same as what I was going through, not being believed. So I also help other people as well.
That's really cool. And so, I've got to ask, what's it like living with five spirits?
It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Like you can be halfway through a film and the TV will go off and they'll start changing channel, or you play on the computer and they'll start going through different menus or throwing things. You'll get weird smells. You'll get your clothes tugged while you're doing the washing up. You'll be in the bath and you'll see the light pull cord go down and start swinging. You're sat in the bath in the dark. Yeah, that's not a great one. Um, yeah, they're just constantly active here. So a lot of what I post on Instagram is what I've caught in my own home. But
Wow,
it's
I'd be having ground rules of no activity in this room while I'm in here.
yeah, the bathroom's off
Yeah,
bounds now. Definitely the bathroom. But no, they're great, and I don't mean no harm. It must be boring to not be seen or heard. So for someone to react to something you've just done, that's their entertainment as well.
and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a show that became popular here in the US, and I think it started actually in the UK, and it's called Ghosts. And for your side of the pond, it's Ghost UK. And it's about a couple who lives with ghosts in their house.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's like, as you were describing it, it was like coming to mind and going, I wonder if she has a TV schedule time for them where they get to watch what they want during this time.
It's just so normal to me. You'll see something go flying across the room, you're just like, oh well, we just pick it up and put it back. It just doesn't bother me at all.
Oh, so they pick up after themselves. Nice.
I know they don't mean any harm. So just let them do what they need to do.
I'm sure they're just thrilled to have someone that can see and hear them after how many centuries of being unseen and unheard.
Yeah, I mean, three of them, they go back quite some time because you can tell by the clothing that they have on, but the others are more recent. But the thing is, they can all interact with each other. They're not stuck on different like timelines. They can all interact with each other, which is great.
It is, and
Yeah,
I wonder if you ever, when you leave the house, do they go with you or do they stay at the house?
they stay at the house.
Oh,
I think they're grounded here now. But
all right.
I've asked them if they want help to cross or anything, and they don't want to go. So it's their choice. I can only help cross over if they want to. So,
Right. And speaking of crossing people over, because that's something I've done a couple of times, help people with is how do you go about determining if they're ready and setting that up and going through it? Is do you have like a set of things that you go through, or do you just go, oh, you want to cross over? Okay, here you go.
Um, so you have to make sure that they are ready to go, because there's no point trying to cross them over and they go, oh, actually, no, no, no. I don't want to go and change their minds at the last minute, because you can't move them once you've started, if they just stay there. But yeah, but if they're asking you for help, like, because I'll set up recordings and I'll make sure that I get it on recording that they have asked for help, or ask them if they want to be crossed over. Once I've got that confirmation, then I will help them, and I can do it visually. I can just visualize them, and it doesn't take very long either to cross them over. And then I'll do recordings afterwards to make sure that there's no like answers or anything, to make sure that they have gone.
So, what was it like growing up being a medium?
Scary, very scary. I would see half of people walking around. I remember I was only about 7 and I woke up in the night and there was half a lady in my bedroom, and I could see through her. I could see the bathroom door behind her, but I could see her. I could see her eyes moving around, movements, but there was just no legs at all. She was just floating there. And she spotted me looking at her and she started coming into the bedroom towards me. I just put the blanket straight over my head trying to hide. But when I was like trying to peek through to see where she had gone, she was right next to the bed. And I remember just throwing myself out the bed and just running as quick as I could to my parents' room, just screaming the place down. But I'd see coloured orbs. There was a giant rat as well. I don't know where that came from, but this was huge. This was over 6 foot long. So I don't know if that was some sort of demon or what. But my mum, she used to practice doing Ouija boards growing up, which didn't help in the home. So whatever she was releasing into the house, I was able to see it. I was being affected by it. But yeah, I saw quite a lot. Um, I'd seen my neighbour outside the house, and this woman had died 2 days before, but I'd seen her in our driveway, but she'd already been gone 2 days.
Wow.
So yeah, as a child, it's very confusing as well, because you know what you're seeing, you're not going crazy, and you're trying to explain to people what you've seen, but they're just looking straight through you, like just they're not on the same level as you to
Mm.
understand it. Um,
I
it's
want to take a I want to take a moment here because there are more and more kids now that are having these gifts and everything and may not have a support system. So I'm wanting to know what advice and how you developed your skill as a child, what you did to help those who are coming behind you.
just to understand that they're not crazy. What they're seeing is real. They just have a different eyesight, like ability to see them to other people. It doesn't make them weird, odd. They just are gifted. And to understand that that is a gift, treat it as a gift. And uh, I suppose being involved in a spiritualist church is the best way to go for the best help, because everyone there is on your side. But when you go to a normal, everyday church, they would try and tell you that what you're going through isn't right, that you need help to see a doctor, and they would start trying to put your children on medication for it. Um, so the best way is to seek out a spiritualist church for help rather than a normal church. That would be the best advice.
No, that's really good because
Yeah.
I did the same thing as going metaphysical church over Catholic church, and actually ended up just leaving church, period. But that's another story. So, what was your first mediumship experience like? Was it the lady you saw in half, or did you see something before that?
It was actually a pet rabbit. It was actually a pet rabbit. Um, as a child, kids are busy watching telly, playing with their friends and everything, and I'd completely forgotten about my rabbit. Now, instead of my mom going to check and make sure I'd fed it and stuff, she hadn't. And unfortunately, this rabbit had passed away by the time anyone noticed that it needed food and water. And I was literally heartbroken when I'd seen my rabbit, and I was crying for days. And in the middle of the night, I heard like a thumping sound on the floor, like the back leg of a rabbit thumping. And when I turned around, it was this rabbit in my room, but I didn't see it as a solid form. You could still see, like there was a chest of drawers. I could still see the line of the drawers and stuff through the rabbit, but it was solid enough to see that it was the rabbit. And I went to go and pick it up, and it just vanished on me. So that was my first experience of seeing an actual spirit, like in form.
So, do you think he came to tell you it's okay? He's all right, or
Oh, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think that's why it came back.
so? I'm curious. Have any other of the animals that you've seen? Have you been able to communicate with them, or
There's been family pets that have passed away over the years, and I've seen them running around the house like there's nothing wrong with them. Just like they were when they was fit and healthy, I've seen them running around. So I'm always seeing animals, especially cats. And they're not always my own cats, these have been other cats as well. But the spirit cats seem to be drawn to me a lot. And there's quite a few in my house now. But I love cats, so that's all right. Um, it weren't until I was about 15 onwards that I started seeing people in more of a solid form.
so? What happened at 15 that you feel like your gifts enhanced or changed? What was there something going on in your
Um,
life that kind of triggered the change?
I suffered a head injury due to rollerblading, and the way I'd hit my head was like straight on. And after that, I just seemed to be more in tune. And every time there's been any event in my life, I seem to be, it's like upgraded each time. It's more intense each time.
Yeah. So was the rollerblading you just showing off, or
Yeah.
was it a universal thing of, okay, this is the time we're making it happen. Everybody ready, folks.
I was racing my friend down the road, and I took it too far. I was still too competitive, and yeah, I ended up hitting my head quite hard.
Well, good thing you weren't hurt too bad. So you say around injuries, a lot of your gifts enhanced. So were there a lot of the injuries like rollerblading, or was it specific circumstances?
um, one of them was a near-death experience I had whilst giving birth to my youngest son. That was quite intense. That one. Um,
You can talk
well,
about it if you want.
yeah. When I was giving birth to him, because he was a spontaneous delivery, there was no time for epidural, no time for pain relief at all. He was just literally ready to be born. and my body had gone into a state of shock because I got a heart complaint. And whilst giving birth to him, like, you could hear the machines going. I was just engulfed in pain. I could hear the nurses talking to me, and all of a sudden, I couldn't hear the machines anymore. All the sound had gone. I couldn't hear no people, and the room just started to feel warm. But I was calm. Wasn't panicked at all. I was in no pain, and yeah, I was just laying there in just a complete state of calm, without a care in the world. And I don't know how long I was in this state for, but it felt like a good 5, 6 minutes. And then suddenly I started hearing the machines going again, started hearing the people talking again, and then the pain just overwhelmed me. I kept passing in and out consciousness with the pain. And I managed to give birth to my son, but the weeks leading, like after, following the birth of him, I just started seeing black shadows around my flat. It In my bathroom, it was like it was raining. I don't know if anyone's experienced this before, but it was like it was literally raining indoors. You could see it on the floor. Um,
Interesting.
I was hearing people more, footsteps. I was having vivid dreams, and I kept being taken back to the birth. Like, in my dream, I kept being taken back. And each time I was being taken back to this dream, I was seeing my grandparents in the room, but I didn't see them on the day. But in the dreams, I was being taken back and seeing them talking to me, saying, "You're going to be fine. It's not your time." They're trying to send me back. And, so since that happened, I was more advanced, and I was more sensitive to other people as well. Because as an empath, you can already pick up on how people are feeling. But this was like so intense that how they were feeling was making me actually feel what they were feeling as well. So that was quite an experience, that one.
So, how long do you think you were in and out of the consciousness periods? Was it like hours or
Um,
minutes?
well, from start to finish, the whole thing was only 3 hours. So going in and out of consciousness, it was about an hour in total, because they had to keep stopping me from pushing to slow my heart rate down because they didn't want me to have a heart attack. Um, but each time it was going too fast, I'd like black out again.
Interesting. So, it's like the body was, in a way, trying to protect you, but at the same time, trying to help you deliver the
Yeah.
baby. And so, it's like we can't do both. So, I guess
No.
they were like, okay, let's calm this down. Let's calm, shift her back in. Okay, we gotta shift her out, let her calm down. Interesting. So, do you have any idea where you went in those periods? Or did you just stay in the room?
I stayed in the room, but I wasn't scared. The room just felt warm. I felt comfortable, just completely calm, like just at peace. Yeah,
Well,
no worries at all.
that's really cool. And so, do you feel like so this was your first, and I'm assuming by that you had more than one.
Yeah.
So, did it get easier with the next ones, or were they the same? Was it like you went through the same process again?
The second one was August just gone this year, and I went for an operation. And during the operation, I was given 3 anesthetic and 2 adrenaline shots to numb the area. and it was the last shots that affected my heart rate again. And yeah, I was in a very, very bad way at the time. And I could see the people talking to me in the room. There was each side of the bed, and it's like the room just started to dim. The light was dimming. I could see them, but I couldn't see their features on their faces. And like, even though they were touching my hands and stuff, I couldn't feel their touch on me, even though they was on me. And I felt like I was going out the back of the chair because the hospital bed was sort of tilted upright, and I felt like I was being pulled backwards. And I could sort of feel like if you were to wear a mask, you know the masks you put on, like the face packs.
Right.
It felt like that, like where you peel the thing off your face. It was like that. It's like I was going away from my own face through the back of through the back of the bed. And I said to my partner at the time that I'm going. He said, "Don't be silly. You're not going anywhere." And I said, "I'm going. I know I'm going." And that's the last thing I remember. And just everything just went black for a minute. And then the next thing I know, like the ladies like tapping me on the face. "Oh, it's okay, Marie. You're all right." And they were giving me water. And I was just shaking so much I couldn't even hold the cup of water that they were giving me. But it still took quite a while for my body to feel normal, and I still don't feel 100% myself since then. You know, I feel like my body's been through like trauma, and
Well,
I'm
it
still not.
has.
I've been highly emotional, restless. It's the feeling like that you should have gone, but you're still here. But you feel like that was your time to go. It's a very weird feeling. Very weird.
It is. It'll come and go.
Yeah.
It'll pass eventually, but don't. Yeah, it's. I would suggest just taking it easy and just don't try and force it. Just let it run its natural course because, yeah, some things you can't rush, unfortunately.
Well, like I said, I still get days where I get very emotional. Um, Things that didn't used to bother me before bother me now. Um, and things that used to like really get to me before as well. It's like nothing seems important anymore that used to upset you. It's like you just let it all go, you know.
Yep, I
Just,
remember that.
yeah. So it's just finding that peace now and understanding that peace has to happen.
And so, do you feel like after this experience that you just went through, do you feel more attuned to yourself and to everything around you? Like color seems brighter and crisper, and you can like really get a true sense of what's around you now?
Yeah, definitely. But it's so intense that it takes time to adjust to that. Even people where it take time to get to know them, to work them out, and I can be in a room with someone 5 minutes and know they have bad intentions. I can instantly pick up on who they are. Whereas before it'd take quite some time for me to pick up on that. But now it's instant now.
Yeah, and so
Mm.
I'm curious, and if you don't want to answer this, don't feel like you have to. But I'm kind of curious, being the medium and having these gifts and this new awareness and everything that's coming. Do you find it's harder to have a relationship, or that it actually is making it easier.
It's definitely harder because what you thought you wanted before, you don't now.
Well, and I
Because
imagine, and guys can't pull anything over on you.
no, no. I used to be quite, I can explain it's like a needy person. I required a lot of attention and affection a lot, and now I can sort of just I'm content with what I have now. I don't feel like I need to have that person there to feel complete now. It's like I've completed myself. You know, I'm happy in my own space, just doing me. So
Yeah,
it definitely changes you as a person.
it does. And I'm kind of curious. And again, if I'm crossing a boundary, just let me know. But does your kids have abilities too, or did it stop with you and they haven't shown yet?
No, no, I have passed it on to my kids. I have my son is 16 and he's autistic and ADHD, and he can also see and speak to them, but he doesn't have the understanding to know what to do with them. So it's very difficult for him. You can't explain to him why he's seeing them, but he will copy them. He'll even go as far as to copy how they're walking. Like if they've got a limp, I took him to the doctors once because he was walking around limping. I thought he had something wrong with his leg. He'd actually been copying the spirit that he'd been seeing.
That's
so
actually a cool gift, actually, if you think
yeah.
about it.
So he's non-verbal, but he can say single words. So he'll say their names or places that they're explaining to him, or he will copy their like physical actions. But it's hard with him because you can't explain to him what's happening.
Right?
There's
And
and my daughter, she's 20, and yeah, she's into her tarot and crystals, and she has the ability to see as well, but she's more understanding of it, and she thinks it's quite cool. She tells her friends and sort of gets them into spiritual things as well, and tells them about my ghost hunting. And yeah, she loves it. We get to follow in my footsteps.
lucky. So I'm curious a little bit. And do you feel because of the autism that the way his mind processes things differently, he may be more attuned to what's going on and that's why he's able to emulate them? Or do you feel like it's causing him to be unable to process and distinguish what's him and what's them?
I think he's definitely more advanced than I am because with autistic children, they're not downgraded over the years of like, oh, don't be silly, it's nothing, and things like that. And what he's seeing, he knows is there. With most children, as you grow up, like kids with imaginary friends, and the parents tell them, oh, they're not real, don't worry about it. What he's seeing is what is actually there. And I suppose with him, he's reality, he is the spirit world as well. He's living in their world at the same time. So I don't know what his balance is with reality because they're with him 24/7, you know.
Mm.
So to an average person, they might see one ghost in their life. He will see them round the clock.
Yeah, I wonder if that's kind of like an avatar where he's in both worlds at the same time.
Yeah. So even though that's a brilliant gift to have, it's also a curse because he can't really express or explain what's going on. And sometimes he will see someone where they've had like a road accident, he will see them in that form, because he'll try and draw pictures and show me what he's seen. And some of these pictures have been quite graphic. And so it's not always seeing nice spirits. He will see ones that have had nasty accidents, which he's been quite upset about it before, and there's been a few attempts to try and close him down spiritually because it's not fair on him to have that gift and not be able to use it for any good, you know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if he's able to share with you what he's seen and everything, then you can take over and help the spirits. So I think there is good with it. I think it's just a matter of getting people who will understand what he's going through and contact you when they're like, yeah, he's saying this person, you figure out he's like, oh, this spirit's ready to go. Let's get your mom over here to do it versus looking at a picture and going, okay, I don't know what I'm looking at here and missing opportunities.
Yeah, there has been a couple that have really scared him, and he's been absolutely terrified of them. And sometimes they will show themselves to him and not me. And that's where we've had problems in the past because it's trying to get that spirit to show themselves to me to help them, but they sort of attached themselves to my son and avoided being seen by anybody else. That's the only time it really becomes a problem.
I wonder, have you tried shielding him
Yeah,
and that doesn't work?
no. The thing is, because he can override me, whatever I put on him, he can take it off. So
Yeah, that's true.
he can.
I wonder if there's a way to explain to him, maybe show him a video like a YouTube or something of someone talking about shielding to protect themselves from certain things, and maybe that'll register in his mind what you're trying to do so he stops undoing it and accepts it and does it himself.
It's just his level of understanding. It's hard to explain to him, but again, to him, it comes natural. We don't realize he's taking it back off.
Right.
It's just,
Well,
it's natural to him.
have you ever, and I know this is going to sound really strange, but have you ever tried reaching him on the astral plane?
No,
So,
no.
how that works is you can be focused on someone even if they're not in the same area, and you go out of body and your spirit consciousness goes to that person's spirit consciousness, has the conversation, explains everything, comes to an agreement, and then both return back to their original bodies. And that may be a way of, try maybe to communicate with him what you're trying to get him to understand, and maybe that could help him, is
That definitely
because on
will.
that level, as my understanding is, autistic or normal or dyslexic, all of those things disappear and you are just pure energy communicating as pure energy. So understanding is on a whole new level.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
that'd be great if I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you mentioned your daughter being into tarot. Did she pick that up
Yeah,
from you or did she
yeah.
pick that up on her own?
As she was growing up, I homeschooled her, so she wasn't brainwashed with schooling. So I taught her the tarot, crystals, you know, pendulum work. I've done a lot of outdoor activities with her, woodlands and things, and it's a lot of it was like witchcraft schooling. Like, schools for witches growing up with her. Yeah,
Yeah.
she
I'm just
loved it.
yeah, I'm just gonna take a moment and say I'm proud of you for standing up and not brainwashing the children and teaching them yourself. That is really admirable and really, a lot of respect for making that choice and standing behind it because I'm sure it wasn't an easy
Yeah.
choice to do. So thank you for doing that. And I think it's also really admirable and incredible that you taught her the natural ways and didn't sit there and go, my experience has been this. This is what you're going to go through. I don't want that for you. So, not going to do that. So,
Yeah.
thank you for modeling that as well and being a truly great and inspirational role model.
Thanks. I just wanted her to be open minded and think for herself.
We need that in
Mm.
this world.
Yeah. They,
There's too much brainwashing going on, and their free thinking is becoming a commodity over a divine right. So, what was your first paranormal investigation like?
um, the first one was in my own home. There was a lot of things being thrown and doors slamming, and there was a woman seen going up and down my staircase. And I thought, set some cameras up, see what I can capture. And I was so happy with the result. I'd got so much on there. I thought I need to show people. So I showed my friends first, and they was all amazed. And I thought I need to do more of this. I need to show more people these videos. And that's when I set up the Instagram page, and it just took off from there. I think
Man, you just
I had over 500 followers in a day.
wow, you're just a rule breaker over there. They always say rule number one is do not investigate your own home. And here you are going and investigating nonstop your own home.
Yeah, there's quite a few down here. I think they just love the camera.
So, do you feel like you have portals in your home or they're just there to be there?
There was a portal where when I moved in that was shut down because there was too many coming through, and it felt quite hard to breathe in the house. I felt like I had asthma. It was that heavy in here, and the place has been cleansed quite a few times. That was closed down, and it's just the five that remain here now, but they're grounded, but they don't cause a problem. They haven't asked for help to leave, so we'll just get on now.
It's kind of funny hearing you say there's five grounded spirits living in the house. Because here in America, when you say grounded, it means you're in trouble and you're being forced to stay in one place.
They're happy here. I think they're just happy that I've acknowledged they're here. I've spoken to them. I've let them just go about their business. I don't try and bother them, trying to move them on. We all just live here happy now. It's brilliant.
So, how do you ground yourself?
Sorry.
How do you ground yourself?
Again, we're visualizing. You just visualize roots coming out of your feet into the ground. You're covering yourself in white protective light, and I'll meditate, calming music. Make sure there's nothing around you stressing you at the same time. You can just sit with your own thoughts for a while and just relax. I like going to woodland walks as well. I find them really relaxing. Yeah, just visualizing yourself, just grounding, physically grounding.
All right. And so, what's the wildest thing to happen on a paranormal investigation to you?
Wildest, Dover Castle. I was in the underground tunnel and walking around filming, couldn't see anything. As I turned to go up the stairs, there was like a giant cloud. That's the only way I can explain it. It was like a cloud barged past me, and it was just pure cold through my body. And I was already filming as I was walking through. I didn't think I caught it on camera. And it shot past me and it went up the stairs, and I was just standing there in shock for a minute. I did swear, but I couldn't cut the swearing out of the recording because it's right at the end as it goes up the stairs. So I had to leave it in. But yeah, I managed to catch it on camera. And as it goes up the stairs, you can see like an arm, a leg, and it looks like a little angel wing on their back going up the stairs, and they just literally disappeared. There was no smoke behind it either. Once it had gone up the stairs, done. That was
Wow,
the best one ever. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that's actually captured the spirit of Dover Castle.
that's
I've,
pretty cool.
I've,
And
I've not seen any other videos from there with that quality.
that's why we invented the phrase the disclaimer, where you can just say, hey, disclaimer, there is one bad word in this video, covers everything. But I gotta say, I'm kind of curious because I don't hear it that often being here in the States, but British have an interesting way of cursing. So, like, what was it that you said? Because I'm like, now I'm curious, like, because it's like probably would not even sound like a curse word to us in America.
But I don't know if I can say it on here. I don't want to get kicked off.
God, you won't get kicked off. There's been a lot of
But
words coming.
as it barged past me, I'll see the cloud, and I just went, "What the fuck was that?"
Oh, so you actually went American. I was like expecting like arse or like one of those like
I didn't,
fancier words.
I didn't know what else to say. It's the only thing I could think of.
No, no, totally makes sense. It's like, yeah, this cloud coming by. It's like, yeah.
It's freezing cold as well. It was just so cold as it went past me.
So, being a medium, have you ever been on an investigation with another person who may or may not be a medium or claims to be sensitive and goes, "Oh, there's the spirit of a guy over here," and you're like sitting there going, "No, there isn't.
Yeah,
There's a lady over here, but there's no guy here.
yeah.
What are you talking about?"
I won't mention names, but yeah, there was someone I went out a few times with investigating, and they were like, "Oh, what's that? Oh, I'm being touched. Did you see that?" And every time they said they saw something, it was always just behind me or just out of view. There was never something in the same room as me. There's always something in the distance, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm picking up on so and so now." And every place we went, they would use the same names that they were picking up on. And I was like, okay, I'm sure you said this last time in the same order that you're saying it now, but they'd be sitting there pretending they're talking to someone, but I could clearly see there was nobody there. You know, I don't sort of let on what I can do. If I've gone out with somebody else filming, I won't tell them what I can do because I want them to show me them. I don't want them
Right.
to play up to it. I want to see how they do their investigations. But yeah, there's been a few times I've sat there and thought, okay, I'll just let you carry on with that.
Well, hopefully this won't interfere with any of your future investigations, and people won't be going, "Hey, I saw you on this podcast, so we're gonna keep the cameras on you all night to see what you come up with."
Yeah.
So, where so how do you deal with the empathy? Do you have a way of turning it on and off, and so when you're not wanting to read people, you don't?
It seems quite automatic now. I can't really switch it off. It's just constantly there. Um, Sometimes it's a good thing because you can avoid certain people, you know who to stay away from. Some people that you can't avoid, like family members, close
Oh,
friends and things like that, that's when it becomes an issue because you know they're toxic and stuff, but you know you can't stay away from them either. So you have to just limit contact when it comes to that. You can't be in that environment too long because when they're talking to you, when they're lying or just being toxic about other people as well. And all you can do is just put a bit of distance there. But yeah, I
you would
can't
be
switch
like
it off.
you would be the perfect wing woman. And I could just see you at a speed dating thing. You'd be
Yeah,
breaking
nope.
records, like 2 syllables coming out of someone's mouth. Nope. Next.
I could just sit in the background and just go, nope, nope.
No, but it's like you said, though, being a gift, and, the good thing is, you know, it allows you to, in essence, save yourself from going and investing time in a relationship that's going nowhere fast by knowing right up front this is gonna go nowhere fast, so don't even go there.
Yeah. You have to sort of make your excuses and just run as quick as you can.
Are you one of those that says, "Oh, I gotta go to the restroom," and bails out the
Climb
window
out the
and
window.
never comes back?
No, I'd at least tell them, I'm going, this ain't for me.
Well, at least you're nice about it. Just don't just ghost the person. No pun intended.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing I just thought about because you can see the spirits and everything. Have you ever sat down for a date and it's a spirit and your date hasn't arrived yet and sit there and have a date with the ghost while you're waiting?
Yeah, I've met up with people and they've sort of had their nan sat next to them trying to pass on messages to them. It's like, I don't want to scare you right now, but your nan's next to you. It's not great. It's not great.
Um,
You have to wait.
I can just see the icebreaker now. Your mom and your aunt are here with you, so you best behave on this date. They're watching you. Seriously, they're right there.
Well, at least I can get their approval.
Oh. That that brings dating to a whole new level. You can get approval from the other side.
Well, I think that'd be good though if you could bring a relative along on a date, because then your spirits could talk to their spirits and like get the gossip on them, you know.
Yeah, but could you imagine the gossip that would start flowing? I mean, seriously, you put grandmother and grandmother or mother and mother across from each other, and all your stories of you being a kid are going to be thrown out there and going, why are you telling this story to a complete stranger on the other side?
That would be funny.
So where is a place, or are there places where you haven't investigated yet that you're like, man, if I had the means and the time, I would so be there.
Mm, there's a few castles, you know, I've got set I'd like to go to, but yeah, funds at the moment are a bit low, so I can't go. But I see on a TikTok video there's a church in France, I think it is. I think it's in France, and it took over 600 years to build, and it's a Gothic church. I'd love to go and see that.
Are you talking
Imagine,
about the church in Barcelona, Spain that was just completed?
I'm not sure, but yeah, imagine starting to build something that is going to take 600 years to build.
Yeah.
The many generations of people it took for that one building.
Yeah, because
That's impressive.
when I was in Barcelona, they were still working on some of the spires. And I think there's like 5 or 6 spires. And they all have spikes on the top of them, on the sides of the spires. And there's statues around. And they were like, yeah, there's been like 4 architects to this project because they died before they could complete it. And so I think they finally did complete it.
Well,
But I'm wondering if that's the one you're thinking of because
it might be, yeah.
it was quite this, and it's like tall. I mean, it's like probably taller than the Vatican.
It was very impressive, and yeah, I'd love to see it in person.
Hey, who knows? Maybe you can. So you, you don't travel in the astral plane?
I have done a few times. So I had a friend that was teaching me to do out of body when I choose to, rather than just through an accident, injury, stuff like that. She was teaching me to do it. And she was showing me where you can go to a plane where there was a giant eye. And she said, when you're there, you can ask anything you want and you'll get the answer to it. But I couldn't take the when you go above your body and you look down. But I was going so high, like I've got a fear of heights. And every time I got to a certain level, I started feeling sick.
No, I'm just laughing that you're like, your conscious mind has a fear of heights,
Yeah.
and you're an energy form floating up and freaking out that you're getting so high. And I'm like, man, I astral plane and I'm hanging out in space, going to other worlds, and you're like, I am not leaving my room because that is too high.
It's just too high for me. As soon as I get to a certain height, I can feel myself like feeling really ill. So it does put me off, but I have completed it a few times. You know, she showed me the plane to go to with the giant eye, and I was asking the questions. But yeah, it's just the initial lifting from your body, looking down. it takes some getting used to.
I have never heard of an astral plane with an eye. That's the all answering eye.
Yeah,
That is interesting sounding.
but I have seen it a few times. I have been there and I've asked questions. But you have to be very careful what you ask, because you will get the answer.
Oh yeah.
No,
So how do you have any idea how fast you were moving in the astral plane?
it felt quite fast, because you get to a certain point and it just feels like you just get sucked, just sort of shot somewhere else. It is very fast.
So my understanding is in the astral plane you travel by the speed of thought. So when you're thinking about something, you're already there before you're done
Mm.
verbalizing your thought. So that's funny. You're like, yeah, you get sucked off somewhere.
It just feels like it gets sucked and just dumped somewhere. I just didn't expect to get there so fast. Yeah, I suppose in my mind I thought it's gonna be all lovely and you just float along, and yeah,
Yeah,
I weren't ready for it.
yeah.
Really wasn't ready for it.
Have you tried visiting places on the planet? Like, for example, like you're saying like that church, whether it's in France or Spain, try visually going there in the astral plane.
I can go to places anywhere I want if I've already been there. I find it easier. So anywhere I've already been, I can just get there in seconds. That's not a problem. It's just venturing out to places that I haven't been. I just struggle with that still.
I'm trying to picture you crossing the ocean and going, if you're going to be one of those, it's like, nope, I'm going to sink and go down to the bottom of the ocean, not going there. Or if you're going to actually figure out how to either float across or jump across.
Well, well,
I'm betting you haven't gone over the ocean, have you?
no, I've never actually been out of the UK.
I
I've
was going to
never
say, you
been.
probably haven't left land yet.
No, but like I said, I find it easier with places I've already been. But
It
I,
is, yeah.
yeah, I do need to practice more. But I suppose if you don't know the layout of the place, you can't really visualize properly being there without being there. So I can explain it.
Well, so how you get around that is my experience has been the places like say I want to go to a pyramid in Egypt, any of them. I just visualize the energy of that pyramid and I'm there. It knows what it is. I don't have to think about, oh, which chamber am I going to be in? It automatically is like, in essence, it's like you're standing at the foot of it and you just walk in and you can go wherever you want in there. And it's because it's the energy, you're in energy, so you're not going to hurt anything, you're not going to break it. So it's like, yeah, there's a freedom in that, but at the same time, yeah, you do got to be careful because if there's people moving around there, yeah, you might end up walking through someone, and that gets fun.
I mean, that's the ability you have once you pass, is to be able to just go anywhere you want. You're only limited by your body.
Well, what I'm
Mm.
trying to help you understand too is when you're in the astral plane, all the physical ailments and everything you have here, don't exist there. So, like, when you were saying you get too high, your heart starts to hurt and you start to panic. That's a earth realm deal, not an astral. So you get kind of try and figure out how to work to understand that doesn't exist there. That condition. You're totally whole, you're totally healthy, you're totally pure energy. And I have a feeling once you figure that out, you will be unstoppable where you can go and experience.
I think it's just my body panicking, thinking it's dying. You know what I mean? Like the palpitations and the heights and stuff is like, oh,
Yeah.
am I gonna come back? So panic starts to set in.
I actually find to me the easiest time, I kid you not, to astral travel is when you're asleep because your body's
Mm,
already shut down into low maintenance mode, so to speak. So it's not like you're going to trigger anything by going off. It's
mm.
like everything's already in that mode anyway. But being awake and traveling, yeah, that does take a bit of getting used to.
I know people use like cannabis and mushrooms and things like that to sort of help them with that.
Yeah, I kind of am of the old school of, you know, if you're using artificial means to get there, when those means run out, you're back to square one.
Mhm.
Whereas if you did it naturally, meaning no help, then wherever you go, whatever stage you're at, you always know and there's no starting over. That's just my
Mm.
opinion.
Yeah, I just need to practice more.
Yeah. So what's your favorite place to investigate?
Mm, I love castles. They are my favourites, the castles.
There's plenty of castles in Scotland and Wales and UK.
Yeah, there's loads I haven't been to yet. They'll be on my bucket list.
So are you one of those that's like you staying in the UK or are you gonna go for Scotland or
Well,
Wales?
I have a friend living in Scotland, and when I go and see her, I'm gonna drag her to come along with me, so she'll start being in my videos as well.
You gonna drag her to the Highlands or
Yeah,
stay in the lowlands?
everywhere, everywhere. Uh,
Yeah. Scotland. So do you ever go to any historical places in the UK to investigate?
um, well, like I said, I've done like Dover Castle. I've done all the places of interest, the normal places there, but there's not much where I live. I do need to start venturing out more, I do, but that'd be after Christmas now.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to think UK where some interesting places are. I'm curious if you've been there because I have friends in the UK. Like, um, she's gonna totally kick my ass for this, but I can't remember how to pronounce it. It's either Northampton or Northampton. It's the northeast side of the UK, bordering Scotland.
Right.
But she is over there, and they're starting to investigate places, and I have a friend who he keeps moving on me, so I think he's now in southwestern UK. But I don't know if you know him, Andy Decodes, or my friend in the northeast of the UK is Kel Atkinson, was Kel Ridley. She recently got married.
I do need to start meeting up with more teams to investigate. But if I could have a few like dotted up and down the country, it'd give me more reason to travel outside of where I am.
Yeah. Are you in the central of the UK or which
Um,
region?
I'm in southeast
Oh,
Kent,
you're
right at the bottom of the country.
yeah. So you're more in the zone. If I'm trying to picture my layout of the UK, so like the Battle of Britain in World War II, that would have been more in your area than most. So you
Yeah,
might have a lot of that energy around.
yeah.
You're not a history person, are you?
Not really. I'll look up the history of the place if I go there. Like if I'm doing any invest, I'll look into about the place and stuff. But I never done history at school or anything either. So people go,
Well,
"Oh, do you remember this place? You know about?" I'll just be like, "Yeah, yeah."
if you ever need help with history, I have a history degree, so I created world history. I studied like literally. I studied Chinese history. I studied European history, American history, African history, Greek history.
Wow, that's impressive.
I like history, so I was trying to get a degree that didn't exist. So I was like, yeah, I'll just take the classes and learn it and create it myself.
That's brilliant.
So, is there any places international that you see on shows and are like, man, I really wish I could investigate there?
Mm, trying to think. Like, I've seen like a few places. Like when you see the other people have been investigating on TV and stuff, and you think, "Oh, I really like that place," but then you forget where they are. I can't really think. I can't think at the moment where they are.
Well, if you
I
describe them, I might know of them.
um, oh God, my mind is literally completely blank.
Like if you were to say a mansion that has doors that go to nowhere and
Th-
rooms.
There's a house and it's upside down, and it was to do with a woman that was so scared of being haunted after she died that she made this house
Winchester.
upside. It's the whole house is completely upside down with loads of little secret corridors and secret rooms and stuff, so she could get away from the other spirits that she believed was in there.
Sounds like you're talking about the Winchester Mansion.
Is that what it is? It's literally completely upside down.
I don't know if it's upside down, but she has stairs that will go up to a door that leads to nowhere. And every room is supposed to be blocked off to keep spirits locked in.
Yeah, it was to confuse them, so she had like little safe spaces to go to get away from them if she had to. I don't know where that is though.
That's in California.
Where is it?
If it's the Winchester. Now, yeah, I haven't been there myself, but I've seen the shows and I've read up about it, and um, I'm kind of curious to tweak your paranormal mind a little bit. And so, what is your favorite Halloween tradition, being that it's All Hallows Eve when this will be airing?
Tradition. Um, well, the new tradition I've had for the past few years has been to do an invest on the night and go live. I always try and do a live invest on the day. Um, yeah, I don't really have any other like family traditions or anything really. Apart from the normal dressing up parties, like we'll do that.
In in the UK, do you celebrate it on the 31st, or
Yeah,
is that okay?
yeah, like that.
Because I know you guys don't have all the same holidays on the same days we do. I
Does
figured that
your
out. Like Mom's Day is not the same day as it is in the US.
yeah, everything's is completely different for you.
So it's kind of cool that we have Halloween in common at least.
There's like the time difference between us earlier. They even confused me when you said, "Oh, are you ready?" I'm like, "But it's Saturday."
Yeah.
I thought we were filming on the Sunday. But yeah, I completely forgot about the time difference.
Oh, it happens to me too. And I have to deal with Japan every once in a while, which is 14 hours, and Australia, which is like by the time I'm doing my things, it's already the next day. So we like to refer to them as the time travelers because they're in the future. It's already the next day for them.
Yeah.
But so, what's your favorite Halloween costume?
Are you with the devil or a witch?
Why the devil or a witch? I get the witch part a little bit.
Well, the devil costume, like the ladies' devil costumes in the UK, are a bit revealing.
Ew, one
It
of those.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a full thing.
I'm like, I'm just picturing you walking around in this leotard type outfit with a cape and a pitchfork and plastic horns on it, going, okay.
Yeah, that's mine. So did you dress up for Halloween?
I usually am not home, or if I am, I don't, there's like just a few people that come to the door. So I'll just kind of throw on like a Halloween shirt or something and just answer the door. I've kind of gotten out of the dressing up really, but I do have a inflatable ghost, a little dog that's in a witch's hat, so cute, and Grogu with a Halloween trick or treat basket. So, I do have Halloween decor up. Do you decorate your house for the holidays?
Yeah. But my house is a bit like it all year round. I get most of the decor from my house when it's Halloween.
I was that way with Christmas. I would leave the tree up all year round and just take the ornaments off and just say, look, it's a tree. It's not a Christmas tree until the ornaments are on it.
That's very true, actually.
Thank you. Finally, somebody that
That's
gets it.
very true.
So, what are your two favorite holidays?
Well, yeah, well, Christmas and Halloween.
I'd have to agree with that.
I can't be bothered with Easter. I don't really see the point in Easter. Um, in the UK, it's just an excuse to eat a lot of chocolate.
Yeah, it's pretty much every holiday. So, do you have any like favorite ghost stories or anything that you remember?
um, Ghost stories. But most of the worst ones was when I used to live at home with my family and like with my mum doing her Ouija boards and stuff. Like she doesn't do them now, but she did them quite a lot back then, and she had let something out that was really bad. And one night she had gone out. I was in the house, and she had these two little sausage dogs at the time, and I could hear like a weird scratching sound in the hallway. I've gone out there, the dogs are all alert, they're all watching it, and there was this little black thing. It was about this big on the bathroom door, and I could see it down the hallway. And I was watching it, but the scratching noise was coming from this little black patch. So I thought it was a beetle. So I walked down there to have a look, and it looked like it was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I thought, oh my God, right? I've picked up the dogs, I've got one under each arm, and all of a sudden it looked like a hand started forming out of this little black dot, like a hand was coming out of the door, and it only got to probably about as far as there, coming out of this hole in the door, and I was gone. I just ran out the front door and took the dogs, ran away. I just refused to go back in. I wouldn't go back in. And told my mum when she come home, and I said to her, you know, you need to stop with these Ouija boards. Or I don't know what you've let out in that house, but I'm not going back in there. I stayed with my friend for a while. And she said, oh, you're being silly. You're probably just seeing things. You're probably overtired. And then she rang me up a couple of days later, and she said that she was asleep on the sofa, and she saw what she thought was like a little black alien sitting on the stairs. She said it was about 4 foot high, right? About 4 foot high. She said it had long fingers, and it come down the stairs, and it was standing in the doorway looking at her, and she freaked out. She was throwing things at it, and it disappeared. I went, oh, don't worry, you're just seeing things. You're probably just tired. But you're just tired. Don't worry about it disappearing. Now you know what I had to put up with in there.
You gotta love the karmic return. And I love how she describes something that's 4 feet tall as short. Like I'm picturing 4 feet tall and going, short is not a word I would use for that. I was like, in the way you were describing it, I was like, that's 4 inches maybe. 4 feet, that's huge.
That is. But I got my own back.
Yeah, so you've seen everything then. You've seen UFOs, aliens, all of that.
Yep, I have. I've actually seen more UFOs than I have spirits.
We'll have to have you back on to go into that because
Yeah,
we're.
I've seen a few now.
I like how she says, I've seen more than I've seen spirits. Well, I've only seen a few. Oh,
Like
like,
the few that stood out from the rest were quite impressive.
well, if you're up to another episode, we'll have to have you come back on and share those.
Yeah, I would do. Thanks.
Ooh, you heard it there, folks. First time she's willing to come back.
Yep. Yeah, it hasn't been as bad as I thought it'd be.
Well, thank you. And in full honesty, was it as I described it to you before we got started?
Yeah, it's been okay. But yeah, I'll be happy to come back on.
Well, thank you. We'd welcome you back anytime you want. So, where can people find you if they have any questions or want to see all your stuff? I know you've mentioned Instagram. Is there any other place where people can check out your stuff and get a hold of you if they have questions?
Well, through Facebook, Marie Louise on Facebook, or the Instagram, or Bewitched.82 on YouTube.
All right. So we come to my favorite part of the show, and no, it's not the end because I enjoy my episodes, and it's the part that I like to delve into the minds a little bit of my guests. And what it is out of your experience in life, doesn't matter what age, doesn't have to be limited to topics we were talking about, but what is a golden nugget you would like to leave the audience of this episode with?
Or what, like an experience, or
It can be anything you want. It's just your. So, since you're in the UK, let me explain the concept of a golden nugget is like advice or some wisdom or something you've learned that you're wanting to share with other people. We call those golden nuggets.
just to appreciate what you have. You know, just appreciate what you have in life. Don't chase things that are not important, because you can lose what you have chasing that.
Very true.
Just be kind to people. Just just support each other. Be there for each other.
Well, there you go. So, thank you for coming on and trusting me to be your first podcast. So, thank you for that. And thank you to everyone who's going to be watching this episode when it premieres Halloween night. And thank you to everyone who's going to watch the replays and wherever you are in the world, whether it be morning, afternoon, evening, or if you're asleep, then, feel free to catch up and watch this episode so you can get caught up right away. Don't want to miss it. And remember, going through, each day, fill it with love and joy. And as Bewitched.82 or AKA Marie Louise says, appreciate what you got. Don't go chasing after every new thing. Appreciate what you have because, you don't know how long you have it for. And that, I can't think of anything to add on to that. So I'm going to end it there and say good night to everyone. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.